When I give talks on Christian parenting at churches, I'll always ask at the end, how well are you doing in these things? And people squirm in their seats, and less than about 20% will put their hand up and give themselves a pass mark for these things. Anyway, what does the Bible actually say is our responsibility as parents? I mean, how many verses in the Bible talk about parenting? People say, oh, not that many. I disagree. 31,102. Every verse in the Bible talks about God's nature and His purpose for the world. So we need to do a good job of communicating that, God's nature and purpose in the world, and representing it to the kids. Not just exposing the kids to the Bible and church and praying and hoping for the best. We have been given a responsibility to communicate God to the kids. Things like it's all the grace of God and prayer and I'm trusting God, that's sort of fine, but it can be an avoidance strategy. I've seen that quite commonly. And you might be tempted to say that too. But the Bible is very clear that we do have a responsibility as parents, and we can't just rely on those other things. Actually, we call these two responsibilities the two A's. The first A is that we are His ambassadors. We are described as being His ambassadors in Corinthians. Therefore, we are ambassadors for Christ, God making His appeal through us. And that means we have the responsibility of making Him attractive to others. Just like all ambassadors, we have the task of representing. And we're representing, ambassadors have to represent their country well, and we have to represent God well to people in our orbit, especially and including our kids. If we do a bad job of it, our country or the person we represent gets a bad name. Now the second A is pretty obvious, it's aroma. We're also odours that permeate, 2 Corinthians 2. And we can be the sweet smell of Jesus, or we can be no smell or a bad smell. We can be a bad smell to our kids. Oh, what a frightening thought. You a good smell or a sweet smell or a bad smell to your kids? So if about half the kids who go to Sunday school aren't going to be attending church as adults, is it sort of a coin toss, if you like? Anyway, in the process of undertaking this study, we talked to two Christian couples who each had 5 kids, all of whom were adults. So did half of them attend church and half not? No. In one family, all 5 kids grew up to be strong Christians in various sorts of Christian leadership, inspiring people, whereas in the other family, none of them followed the path of faith. I mean, it broke their hearts, and they identified the possible reasons. And this is the purpose of this video, to help you understand these things so that you can be a better ambassador and not put your kids off. To make Christianity attractive, to turn them into moths who are profoundly attracted to the light rather than cockroaches that run away. We want to give our kids their best chance of taking that leap of faith. So in conclusion, we invite you to do a few things. Number 1, open your mind and your hearts. This is an important first step to this information for the sake of your kids. It might be uncomfortable, but please don't push it away. When I found some of them uncomfortable too. And when I hear them and I look at myself in the mirror, I think, well, am I doing a good job of that? Please don't push it away. But, number 2, again, consider how well you're doing with each of these 5 challenges. Look at the list again. Would you give yourself a pass mark? If not, be intentional about changing. And as I said, when I talk to audience of Christian parents, typically only around 20% or less give themselves a pass mark on these 5 points. It's very scary. That means 80% realise they are failing. At least at that moment it worries them and they have something to aim for. They love their kids and they want the best for them. We've given ourselves a fail grade at various times over the years too. Everyone does. So number 3, watch the next set of videos that we'll be making on each of these topics on our new YouTube channel called Tips for Christian Parents when they are published. So please subscribe, and as they're published, you'll be notified. Number 4, form a Christian parenting group in your church. Watch these and other videos and discuss the content, sharing with each other your strategies. As parents, of course, it's kind of hard to meet like in this image, so you might want to meet online and just intermittently meet together, discuss and share your ideas. Finally, visualise the change you hope to see. It won't reverse all 53%, but it should reduce it substantially. And so I'll finish with this image of what could happen to our kids if we act with intention in our roles as Christian parents and become good ambassadors. It's actually really inspiring to look at this image, and it brings me to tears when I watch it, and so I leave it with you.